It gives me great pleasure to welcome to the DJ Force 10 podcast. I have Adam Gregory. He is the co-promoter of the UK's Bloodstock Festival. Welcome, Adam.
Thank you, and thank you for having me on.
Absolutely my pleasure on that front. Obviously you're a busy man. We're quite close to this year's event. So like I say, thank you for doing this close. Um,
No problem.
but Bloodstock's been on the sort of like just sort of get a little bit of background on it. I think it's been around since about 2001.
Yeah,
Um,
started 2001 Derby Assembly Rooms as an indoor. We were 1 day back then.
yep.
I think it happened in mid-May, something like that.
Yeah.
And it kind of we went outdoors 2005. Was our
Okay.
first outdoor. Yeah, we were selling out the assembly rooms for a few years, so we thought, well, there's obviously an appetite for this, so let's go a bit bigger. Yeah.
No, definitely, definitely. I mean, back then I was in a band myself, and it was one of the festivals we kind of always looked at. And I don't think our style didn't exactly match what you were doing then. We were kind of more in the new metal side of things.
Yeah, well, we started bizarrely as, and again, the appetite was there at the time as a power metal festival when it was kind of,
Yeah,
I guess, we didn't start as that. It kind of became that, I guess, in the early years, and it's evolved from that effectively now to kind of, we're a metal festival, therefore, should you fit within any genre of metal, it works.
yeah, no, definitely. I was going to say it's now evolved into this beast, if you
Mm,
will, like going from this like two-stage indoor Derby. I remember the Derby assembly rooms, um,
yeah,
and going to like open air,
yeah,
which is it's a way watching a sort of festival grow. It's great watching it from the sort of sidelines, especially in the UK. I mean, obviously we've
mm,
had big festivals in the past, Monsters of Rock, all that
yeah,
kind of stuff. Obviously we've got Download and things like that. And Reading Festival played its part when it used to cater for more alternative.
yeah,
It's kind of still alternative, but it's more mainstream alternative, I think now.
yeah, yeah,
Because I'm more local to Reading, so I've watched that one kind of, or I've been to that one when I was like a teenager and stuff like that.
yeah.
So um, and yeah, just sort of seeing this metal festival, this true sort of I hate the word true metal festival, but it's a metal festival. It hasn't kind of you know
We're not diluted, I think is probably the terminology to it. I think we're classed as a metal festival, and we always want to retain that mantle of a metal festival.
yeah,
We might throw the odd sort of rock act in, and we've done that over the years. But I think true and sort of first and foremost, it's about metal, isn't it? We need
yeah,
that
no,
representation.
totally.
Yeah,
It's yeah, and it's great to see it like I say evolve over the years and become this beast of a festival because I've always seen metal as a sort of niche market, if you will, but now it's becoming
mm,
there's a lot more people out there just into everything.
yeah,
I
absolutely, I
found
agree with that. Yeah,
like my kids are into everything. It's not
yes,
just like obviously they've got the influence from me from the sort of like rock side, metal side, but they've also got their own identity and stuff that they're looking up. So things like K-pop or Taylor
mhm.
Swift or whatever the kids are listening to these days.
Well, at the end of the day, it's good parenting. I think the fact that they've been allowed to develop their own tastes and they've taken some sort of guidance ultimately from your taste as well, I think is great. I
Yeah,
think
I mean,
we all should have. The amount of times, sort of people say, "Oh, you listen to metal." It's like, yeah, I do, but I also listen to rock and I listen to a bit of country and listen to some pop and I listen to some classic. Or it's good to have a variation in taste, definitely.
yeah, no, definitely. I mean, I grew up sort of like electronic music, dance music,
Yeah,
that sort of side of things. And then obviously rock and metal always played a part of my dad and everything. He was a guitarist in various sort of like capacities and stuff like that. So
cool.
then eventually I ended up in the music industry, playing for this band that I was in and sort of going from there and sort of doing the journalist side of things now with this
Yes.
podcast and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And it's sort of like a sort of big passion of mine to have that kind of like, especially when they cross over the sort of like electronic side of things. You got, I know on this lineup, you've got like Combi Christ, for example.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just sort of
I
like,
love Comic Cross.
yeah, and they're a perfect sort of like industrial kind of that cross between metal and sort of extreme dance music, if you will.
Yeah. Yeah, very much so.
And seeing that on the bill is fantastic as well. I mean I can go through the lineup. I won't go through the whole lineup because people can go to your website and see that. But obviously bands like
Yeah.
Architects, Amon Amarth, Opeth, they're your main sort of headliners on this
It's a good
yeah,
variation, I think, and that's what it's about. It's about for me, festivals should be about discovery for fans, not just about seeing. Don't get me wrong, you want to see the bands that you love and you've grown up with, but ultimately you get that opportunity to discover bands you've never even heard of or
yeah,
hadn't ever seen before. And I think that is part of the festival magic. It's that opportunity that you might not go out and buy a ticket for let's say, this particular band before the festival, but actually after the festival, you've gone and bought the merch and the ticket for the next show because you had such a great time listening to them at the festival. So it's that discovery moment, isn't it? I think, which is
Oh no,
important.
definitely, definitely. And the fact that like I've noticed Bloodstock taking more chances on different headliners as well.
Yeah.
Because there's a tendency to kind of book, across all, not just the rock and metal festivals, but general festivals, you've always got the kind of like legendary bands, or you've got the sort of same every year it rotates with different different heavy
Yes.
acts, but ultimately it's the same headliners. And yeah, they bring the people in, everyone still wants to watch. I don't want to name drop anyone because it makes it sound bad, but like everyone wants to see Iron Maiden, everyone wants to see Slipknot. There's
Mm,
nothing wrong with that.
of course.
But I mean, you're taking a chance with like Architects this year, you know, um,
Yeah.
being the headline. I mean, they're a fantastic, don't get me wrong, a fantastic band, and they are big. They've got, number one album, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
If we're gonna sort of look into that side of it, but taking a chance as them, giving them the production for the headliner,
Well,
fantastic.
for our sort of take on that is, a lot of those, let's say, legendary, iconic headliners at some point are going to think, you know what, we've had a really good run, we've had a really good career, we're going to sort of give up the mics and we're going to, our last ever show for a couple of years, and then they may come back, but ultimately they're going to sort of at some point decide that they're not doing it anymore.
Yeah,
So if we can't be part of that process in trying to establish and find those next big bands, those next headliners for not only Bloodstock but for other festivals as
yeah,
well. You've got to start that sort of train somewhere. Download did it this year with some of their bands that they booked, and I think it was great.
yeah,
And that's what we should be doing as festivals. We should be that platform, that pedestal for those next big iconic bands. We
no,
don't want to
definitely.
get to 20 years down the line still listening to the bands we listened to 20 years ago because there's nobody else out there. We want to say, okay, who's next? We're hungry
Yeah,
for it.
yeah, and if they're still kicking around as well, it'd be very, very strange.
Absolutely.
Oh, those bands.
Yeah, yeah.
Imagine
Wouldn't you
Slipknot in 20 years' time. I can't imagine there being any others.
just? I'm
But
sure McCall would be up for it.
yeah, yeah, I'm sure he would be. But I mean, obviously with that, like this lineup, there's some absolutely fantastic bands. I'm going to go through a couple of them, ones that I sort of like highlight out of it. Clutch, I love Clutch.
Yeah.
Absolutely fantastic
Well,
band.
Clutch has been a band that we've been asked for quite a few years.
Yeah,
Um, and it, for whatever reason, whether it being touring the US or touring somewhere else in the world or being in the studio, we couldn't get it to work. But it was great to be able to get them booked last year for this year. So we're excited about that.
nice. And you got Hatebreed as well on the same
Yeah.
day. In fact, Deerside. Let's go on to the next day. You got Green Lung as well. Green Lung previously on this show at some point, which is great.
Cool.
And then like obviously you've got other stages where you got Silosis playing, like we already mentioned, Combi Christ, Igor, um, South of Salem. Just to sort of, I'm just naming random bands off the lineup here at the moment.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you've got the sort of other stages. You've got your Lost to Light. I think yeah, She Burns Red. May as well get something off the EMP stage as well. I got Lurcher, Lloyd's Trip, King Kraken, and people can go to bloodstock.uk.com and find all that
Yeah.
information.
There's loads on there to choose. Yeah.
And you've also got the Battle of the bands coming through as well, the Metal to the Masses.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
Last show's this weekend, actually, depending on when you listen to this,
yeah,
Coventry. So yeah, it's been a fantastic tour this year. Really, really busy.
yeah, I've had a couple local to me like Brighton, Reading, stuff like that, and
Yeah.
Reading, Oxford, I think it was actually this year.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, and obviously the club nights as well. That's something I've been a part of myself. I DJ a
Brilliant.
couple of metal clubs in the UK. Yeah, not just a DJ by name. I do actually.
Go out and do it as well. Yeah.
But we've given away a fair few tickets of yours to various sort of like competitions we've had in the thing as well, which is another great thing that you
Appreciate
guys
it.
like let us be a part of as well, because obviously that does bring people in for us, but also exposes people to the festival as well. So we had like posters and all that kind of stuff we were giving away. Um, and yeah, I mean, people obviously doing stuff to win these tickets. I mean, I think we had a random, I think we did a like sort of a draw, random raffle draw, and I think we did a cosplay competition as well. If I remember right, it was
But
about
it's good to be inventive with, isn't it? And it's getting people involved, and that's what it should be. Bloodstock is, and metal generally is a community, and I think it's great to get a community involvement with things like that. So everything that everybody does, we're eternally grateful for. But if it's something people can have a bit of fun with, why not?
yeah, no, exactly, and it's surprising how many metalheads dress up
Oh, they do, yeah.
for these sort of things. That's always surprising. I've been DJing clubs for like 20 plus years, and the
Yeah,
cosplay side of it has always astounded me. Some of the efforts people put in for the smallest of prizes, but it's more, I
Yeah.
guess it's more bragging rights on that front. And cosplay is a whole different community. But
Oh, it is.
um,
We have Bloodstock every year. I
yeah,
think they're a big part of the festival. This is why we do fancy dress themes and things like that as well, because it allows people just to be who they are and have some fun. And that's all it is. That's all it is. It's just allowing people to have fun and be themselves.
yeah,
It's
no, that's
important.
exactly it. And
Yeah.
it brings everyone out, which is great as well.
Yes, it does.
Like I
It
say,
does.
some of the jobs people do with their costumes, they spend hours on
Oh,
these.
they're insane. Every year we do have a little fancy dress Halloween party at the house, and I always sort of struggle, and I'll sort of think back to Bloodstock a few months earlier and what people were wearing, and just think, nah, I just A, couldn't afford it, and B, don't have the imagination for it. But
Yeah.
yeah,
No,
they're insane. Some of these are.
I'm very much the same. I've never dressed up for it. I've never had the time or the imagination for it, to be honest.
No, no, there's a lot of passion out there and a lot of very talented people.
Yeah, yeah, no, definitely,
Yeah.
definitely. I mean, obviously, go back to this year's festival. What sort of because obviously coming out of obviously we had the pandemic a few years ago, in case you didn't notice.
Oh,
Uh,
yeah.
what sort of challenges out of that have you had, especially coming up to like this year? And it's still around. I got it a few months
Yeah.
ago, and it's not very nice. Like that was my
No.
third time, and it was the worst time I had with it. But what sort of
Yeah.
challenges arise with you now with the festival and sort of that side of things? If people were kind of concerned about that, because obviously, there's always something going on. There's always a strain of something. But
Yeah, I mean, we are very aware of that. COVID, is it now considered similar to the flu? And is this is sort of the importance of what it was? Because that kind of diminished a little bit. I think it's something certainly that, we want to promote, and we have, the hand sanitizing stations, and we encourage people just to, you know, be careful and cautious as much as you can do. But, the interaction people are having in their daily lives now is kind of where it was previously. And, you know, I guess you can do all you can do. But post COVID for, I guess, events has been tough. The prices of the infrastructure for everything, they've gone up in the last 2 years, probably 30 to 35% each year. Not overall. That's the best part of a 70% increase
yeah,
in the last 2 years, and just to put on the same show you probably did 2 years ago,
crazy.
um, which is absolutely crazy. So, this year, alone, I was speaking to me earlier on, the AIF, which is the Association of Independent Festivals, were sort of saying that this year already they've had over 50 cancellations of different festivals and events in 2024.
Wow.
And it was similar numbers in 2023, and at what point does it become sustainable, I guess, for events to keep going?
Yeah,
Um, and that's the rising cost of everything, and festivals are trying not to pass that cost on. So there's lots of challenges that events have to have, and events do have, that we sort of have to work through every year. We're fortunate enough; we've got a great team around us with a lot of experience and a lot of knowledge now, having been around for a while, and we've so far, touch wood, managed to sort of keep above the water, and everything's good. But it's hard, and you keep doing what you're doing. But I think for us, what we don't want to do is cut any corners and sort of shortchange the fans. We want the experience to be
yeah,
better every single year, and it's what we can do to sort of improve what we did the previous year to get that experience different and that memory better. And hopefully we're sort of on the track to doing that. We've got a lot of stuff happening this year with Motorhead and Lemmy and the gallery, and big band announcement on the Friday night for next year. So there's a lot to sort of be excited about, I think, which is good.
yeah. No, excellent. I mean, that brings me on to my next thing of what can people sort of like, is there anything you can tease they can look forward to? I mean, a lot of the festivals are doing kind of like secret sets or having bands in for,
Yeah.
secret sets and stuff like. Is that something that you will partake in this year? I know previously.
No, no, we're not going to. There isn't a secret set this year. I can categorically say that. But ultimately, we have done that before, because quite simply the conversations happened and it worked and it was
Yeah,
appropriate. We've got this year, we're announcing all of the headliners for 2025 for both the main stage and the Sophie stage. So that's going to happen on the Friday night and
nice.
then throughout the weekend. Um, we've got the gaming arena this year, that we've got a lot more stuff in there. There's a big VR centerpiece that's happening in there, and that's going to be quite insane. The gallery, we're recreating Lemmy's dressing room in a new section on the gallery this year, that people can sort of come along and sort of pay tribute to Lemmy. So you'll get to experience what it was like in a traditional Lemmy's dressing room, if you
Yeah,
like, when he was on the road. And Lemmy's management and Motets management have given us some authentic pieces that Lemmy actually owned that will be on display there as well. We've had a bust made of Lemmy, which is going to hold Lemmy's ashes, and that'll be on display for the fans to see. We've got the bomber from the Motorhead tour.
Yeah.
So when they used to go out and they take the bomber on stage, we've got that at Bloodstock this year with all the lights on the wings and everything.
Cool.
And on the Friday, I believe we're starting the festival with the Motorhead Air Raid siren, and then we'll close it with the same siren on the Sunday. So again, it's going to be quite a sort of hair on your back moment, I think,
Yeah.
for a lot of people. Something really special. So you've got to be there.
No, I mean, I'd love to be there. I'm actually away when it's on,
Ah,
actually. But I absolutely, I mean, Motorhead were my gateway
yeah.
into rock and metal. Like, thanks to them being on the young ones.
I was going to say actually, I bet you saw them on the young ones.
Yeah, yeah, I'm that old. Uh,
Yeah, me too. Don't worry.
but no, I mean, it was one of those moments where, well, like, I remember like vividly watching. I used to love I still do. I watch the DVDs quite often.
Yeah,
But yeah, watching that episode where it's the University Challenge episode,
that's
and
right. Yeah,
it's just the whole sequence of them getting the train to London or whatever it was.
yeah. Vivian sticks his head out the window. I remember it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. But like just having Ace of Spades playing, and I'm like, I
yeah,
love this. What is this? That was my
yeah.
sort of like metal moment. I've just realized a t-shirt I'm wearing with the COVID-19 thing.
I did notice that actually. I thought that was obviously a message you were trying to cut across there.
No, no, it's Necro Goblicon.
Yes,
Um,
yeah. I can only see the COVID-19. That's all I can see.
yeah, yeah, it's got him there, and on the back it's like, "What's next?" COVID-20. So it's one of their running.
Probably. Yeah. Don't say that.
Um, um, but yeah, I mean, obviously that sounds amazing. I mean, I like I say, Motorhead were my gateway into this, and a
Yeah,
lot of people, as I would have thought of, especially sort of
absolutely.
around my age and everything.
Yeah.
Or even not that. I mean, anyone that's listened to maybe Phil Campbell's band and stuff like that, and then have gone to
Mhm.
listen to Motorhead and stuff like that, and just sort of
Well, Phil's going to be at Bloodstock this year, so Phil's part of the ceremony process, and be able to come and say hello to Phil as well. So
nice.
yeah,
Excellent. Well, I mean, I hope everyone goes there, enjoys that, and like I say,
yeah,
it does sound like a very much like hair on the back, like hair raising moment. And that,
I think so. I think it will be. Yeah, certainly
yeah,
for a lot of Motorhead fans, I think they're going to love that. We're going to certainly love it anyway. So
yeah, definitely,
yeah,
definitely. So with just to sort of like I guess wrap things up. I've got a couple of questions left for you, if that's all right.
sure. Yeah, all right.
Obviously we've talked about like Bloodstock and everything. Obviously everyone should know when it is, but I'm gonna remind them now. Um, it's
Yeah,
um, it's August. August the 8th to the 11th.
yep.
And it's up in Derby, at Catton Park. It's been there for a fair few years. Actually, I was going to ask you, is there much room to expand there as well? Still,
We can go a little bit bigger. I think it's more a case of do we really want to because
yeah,
Bloodstock's got a feel.
yeah,
For those people that have been, that there's kind of, I know it's weird to sort of say it, but it's got a very family sort of oriented feel, and you feel very much at home there, and we get that told all the time by the fans and people that sort of turn up and come, and I think if you expand too big and get too out of control, I guess with audience wise, it's very hard to maintain that.
yeah.
So I guess where we are at the moment, we're very happy with the size of Bloodstock the way it is, and there's no plans to expand on that really. Anytime in the future anyway.
Yeah, no, I was just curious, because sort of seeing where you want to go with it. Obviously, a
Yeah.
lot of people just want to get big, 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 and whatever. But
Yeah,
obviously
no, we don't want to do that. We
keeping
don't
it
do that. I think the problem is
sustainable.
when you do that, you risk bursting the bubble, don't you? And
Yes,
I
yeah,
think that's
exactly.
yeah, we don't want that. We've got something quite special, quite unique, and we want to sort of keep that at that level for as long as we can do.
Cool, cool. Well, on to my final question. Sorry to sidetrack a little bit there, back onto it.
All right.
But what I want to find out is a little bit about yourself. So what I want to know is your three most pivotal albums. So not necessarily your favorite albums of all time, but the one like I said a moment ago of my sort of like Motorhead moment of watching
Mm,
the young ones, like that sort of moment when you first heard a certain record and you're like, oh, what is this? Or when you heard a certain album and it sort of inspired you to be, or inspired you, to take part in this. Obviously, it's a family
yeah.
business that you have, and
Yeah.
on there, and what sort of like keeps you going, any of those sort of albums that sort of kept you back in or anything like
Yeah.
that.
I mean, I guess my first experience of probably an album that I fell in love with was actually Fleetwood Mac Rumours.
Nice. Yeah,
Many, many moons ago. It's one of those, and again, it's an album I can still listen to today and just completely know every word of every song, and
yeah.
and you just kind of love that experience. Number two, I would probably say would be Hysteria, Def Leppard.
Nice.
Again, early sort of listening to that in the 80s and 90s, and kind of growing up with that. It's a band, and they still sound the same today. Seeing them a couple of years ago, they were exactly the same. And I'll probably say my third album would have probably been, and it was only through the fact my dad was doing the album covers at the time, would have been Saxon and Crusader,
Oh, nice.
because he did the Crusader album back in 1984.
Oh,
And again, that was my real, a very early teen, my sort of first real experience of a metal band, if you like, and I
yeah.
kind of fell in love with that magic and mystique behind leather-clad, long-haired people in screaming at the top of their voice on stage. So yeah, that's probably my top three, I think.
Nice. I mean, Fleetwood Mac, fantastic band.
Yeah,
Yeah, you can listen to them all day and not get bored. Uh,
absolutely.
Def Leppard as well. I love that. My wife loves them. In fact, she loves
Yeah, yeah,
and Saxon. I've got that album on vinyl behind me somewhere.
yeah,
Could have brought it out. But yeah, no, Saxon just like traditional British heavy metal.
yeah,
I love it, and I was fortunate enough to play on the same bill as them many years ago as well. So,
yeah,
you know,
yeah,
sharing a stage with someone like that, of that heritage, and I've
yeah,
had Bill on the show, and I've had one of the ex guitarists on the show, Graham,
yeah,
uh,
yeah.
and just to talk about various albums, stuff like that. I think it
Mm,
was actually, I think it was his solo album he was doing at the time.
right.
But yeah, no, having that, like, just getting to speak to them, it's fantastic. But yeah, no, fantastic.
Yeah, and the nice thing is they used to always have sort of original artwork as well. So
Yeah,
it was
yeah,
it was you know, and obviously my dad painted the album covers, so it was kind of super special for us. So
nice.
yeah, Crusader I think was his first one. That was a
Do you still
great
have
album
any of
cover
that
as well.
sort? You still have any of that sort of stuff around the house, or
He's got them. He's got some of the art, the painting still that he's done for the albums. He's got, I think, most of them really. I know Biff bought one, and over the years, he's one or two have gone, but yeah, he's got most of them still.
nice, excellent.
Yeah.
I look forward to a future exhibition.
Yes. Yeah. Why not? Definitely. We'll keep telling him.
Yeah, no, keep that. Definitely do it. It's something I would love to see.
Good.
But finally, Adam, what are your hobbies away from Bloodstock? So when you're not booking bands, organizing various parts of the festival, delegating tasks to other people, what sort of hobbies do you have that you to just
Hmm.
sort of get away from that?
I'm super boring. I mean, to be honest, I'm a bit of a gamer,
Yep.
an old gamer. I don't mind. I can't enjoy doing that once or twice a week. Um, I do like to go to the gym. Probably do
Okay.
that about 3 times a week. And it's not a game. I'm at that point in my life where it's not about trying to look like the Hulk. It's just trying to sort of maintain the shape.
Yeah.
So I sort of, I play around with that a few times a week. And other than that, it's just a bit of family time, a bit of relaxing, and just trying to sort of enjoy your corner of the world. I
Yeah.
think is probably the right way of looking at it. Nothing too dramatic. I was Harley rider until a year or two ago, and then I sort of gave that up because you know you see things you don't want to see, and it's like, well, okay, family's more important at times. So,
Yeah. Fair enough.
but yeah, outside of that, yeah, just pretty routine, normal stuff. Nothing
Nice.
magical.
Nice. Any particular games you're playing at the moment?
I'm a big COD fan, to be
Yeah.
honest. And there's a few of us that do game on a Wednesday and a Sunday, and we tend to sort of sync with. I think it's Rainbow Six. We do sort of a bit of a private battle on, and a lot of racing on the likes of Forza and Assetto Corsa and stuff like that. But yeah, I'm a big Call of Duty man myself. That's my favorite
Excellent.
game. Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's a fantastic. I mean, I game myself, so it's sort of I play COD, I play Forza, I play FIFA, I play all the sort of
Yeah.
Destiny,
I can't
all
get
that.
FIFA. I can't get my head around FIFA. I'm really bad at it, so I don't bother.
Oh
So
no, I used to be really good once upon a time, but now I go online and I'm just get annihilated. So
yeah, probably by a 6-year-old sitting in his bedroom, and
yeah,
he's got
exactly.
the hand-eye coordination of a wizard.
Yeah, exactly. At least with like COD and stuff, I've got a
Yeah,
chance.
yeah,
So,
yeah, exactly.
but no, that's fantastic. I mean, is that the inspiration behind the gaming part of the festival as well? Like you mentioned earlier, was that?
No, not really. I mean, yes, I enjoy it, and my brother who sort of looks after certain aspects, he enjoys it as well. But I think it's more that if you sort of play most games or a lot of games nowadays, they're backed with metal and rock tracks.
Yeah,
And certainly a lot of fantasy games and sort of high octane games, and so there's an obvious link between metal and gaming. And it became quite an obvious thing when we sort of spoke about it, and a few people sort of asking if we are going to bring a gaming arena to it, and we did it in the first year just as a okay, let's see how it goes. But every year it's been absolutely rammed. So we decided this year let's up the ante on it and let's bring in a load of VR equipment and really sort of make it something super cool. So I think there's a lot of people that are going to be very, very happy with what we're doing this year.
fantastic. Well, I hope everyone looks forward to it. Like I say,
Yes.
unfortunately, I won't be there, but you know,
We'll be filming it. You'll be able to see it, and then
yes,
come back
I'll
to it.
definitely see the videos and stuff. I do.
Yes.
I spend a lot of time online and stuff, not just with this, but with
Yeah.
stuff. So, but yeah, no, fantastic. Thank you, Adam. I really appreciate it.
Pleasure.
Good luck with this year.
Thank you.
I look forward to seeing who the headliners and everything are for next year as well. See who you bring in.
All be
Um,
announced on the Friday.
and then I'll try and attend if I can. Uh, but I'm actually going to America this year, so
Oh wow. Okay.
out
Well,
of
you
the
enjoy
country.
yourself.
Yeah, I will. I will. Well, we're hitting up Florida. I used to live out in Florida, but we're gonna go to Florida.
Oh,
And
I've been there a couple of times actually. I thoroughly enjoy it.
yeah, no, it should be good. It
Yeah.
should be nice and hot, I think. Better than the weather we're getting right now, looking out there. And I hope that is
Yeah.
better for Bloodstock. I mean, it kind of tell like August should be warm, I think.
Well, the forecast it should be good. It'll be what it'll be. We'll still enjoy
Yeah.
ourselves.
No,
Yeah.
exactly. I mean, we live on an island, it can change just like that. So,
Exactly. Exactly.
But cool,
Yeah.
Adam, thank you very much.
Perfect.
I really appreciate it. You have a good rest of your day, all right?
Yeah. You too. Thanks very much for your time. Take care.
And thank you. Bye bye.
Bye bye.